Hey there everyone, welcome back to another great video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing the top 10 Xbox 360 video games of all time. This is my personal opinion, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that will have a different opinion than mine, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. I want you to know that that's fine if you are critical of my opinion. It's perfectly fine. We all have different opinions, and I think as gamers, it's fun to kind of come together and see maybe where we agree and maybe where we disagree. But it's always a fun time when I'm doing videos on the Xbox 360. It's one of my all-time favorite consoles, and judging by a lot of the feedback I get, it's a lot of your favorite console as well. So keep in mind that these aren't exclusive, or most of them aren't exclusives or anything like that. They're just games that are very much playable on Xbox 360 and maybe a little bit better known on the Xbox 360. So let's go ahead and turn on our 360s. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Yeah, I know. You thought you were going to get that Millhouse meme? Not today, my friends.
That's the joke.
Coming in slick at number 10 is the first Forza Horizon game. Yeah, there's just something great about this game. I really thought it was the birth of a new franchise. Having really just started to enjoy Forza Motorsport 3 and 4 on the Xbox 360. When this came out, I was a little bit kind of unsure about what to think of it because I loved the Motorsport series so much, but then when the game launched and I played it, I just knew that this was going to be like the next big thing. And honestly, it has been the next big thing. As an Xbox fan, I'm always the first to line up to buy a new Forza Horizon game. They're just so much fun. I always look forward to the different festivals, the music, the atmosphere, the amount of cars, the things that you could do. It's just really unmatched in racing games, and the fact that this is more of an arcade racer makes it easier to kind of get the handle on and get control of. So I always put this one in. I know it's probably not a game that a lot of people would have as their, top 10, but this game redefined racing games in my opinion, and so Forza Horizon definitely earned its spot in the top 10 for me personally. Coming in hot at number 9 is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, I could have went Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but I thought Modern Warfare 2 was the one that really got so much right in this franchise, almost spawning its own side franchise. They originally were going to leave off the Call of Duty portion at some point and just call it Modern Warfare. I can understand why they'd want to do that. Realistically, the Modern Warfare games are their own thing and they're extremely popular. Even to this day, you can play this game online, especially on the Xbox 360. It has, no problems finding matches, and it's backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X, which I think is cool. It had a really fun campaign with a lot of twists and turns, and the multiplayer really introduced a lot of cool things as well. So for me, it doesn't really get much better than that. I think that, the Call of Duty series, it's one that many people get tired of, or many people still enjoy. I still enjoy it, but I definitely enjoy the Modern Warfare franchise much, much more than the other Call of Duty games. So I definitely had to put this one on here. It's a top 10 game all day for me, and I'm sure many of you will agree. Flying into the number 8 spot is Bioshock. Yeah, believe it or not, this game was a one-year timed exclusive on the Xbox 360, and it hit in 2007, which was at a time when a lot of great games were hitting on the Xbox 360. Think about this for a second. We had this game, which was Bioshock. We had Halo 3, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. We had Assassin's Creed. We also had Mass Effect. So many great games in 2007. It's unbelievable. But yeah, this one is definitely one of the ones that really brings that ambiance and that mood. It's a mood-setting game. And even though it's considered a first-person shooter, realistically, it's much more than that. It has so many different elements. It's got horror, and it's just really got a lot of kind of some jump scares, and the setting is just second to none. The music is amazing. Just really one of the best games on the Xbox 360. I don't think I'll see many people that fight me on this game being in the top 10. It's honestly just one of the best games you can play, even today. And I know it's on other consoles and things like that, but if you haven't played these games, especially the first one, give it a try. It's definitely amazing. Coming in nicely at number 7 is Fable 2. And I know some people will probably disagree with this. They maybe don't like Fable or whatever. Fable 2 is a masterpiece in my opinion. It's one of those games that really kind of, you have to play it to really appreciate it. It's got that dark sense of humor. It's got, so many cool things going on it. There's good choices, there's bad choices. Really what you do affects how you look. Like if you quick travel a lot or whatever, you can, you end up gaining weight. They really went all out with this game, and I know that not every promise was met and kept for this game, but they really did such a great job with it, and having the dog, and there's even some fun DLC in this game. This is why I'm really excited that they're bringing this franchise back to Xbox. But Fable 2 was definitely the high point, and I feel like it's just one of those games that is really high rated and has a lot of awards and people are aware of it, but I also feel like it's one of those games that is slightly underappreciated at the same time. For me though, it's in the top 10 and it belongs there every day of the week. Just outside the top 5, landing at number 6, is Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, this one is kind of a no-brainer. There is so much to explore in this game. It's one of the deepest, most amazing, kind of realistic games that you can play. If you ever wondered what it was like to be a cowboy, this is probably one that you should definitely pick up. Obviously, Rockstar, their pedigree is second to none. People really kind of look at what they do as these amazing, like, magnum opus, and I have to agree with that here. The story is absolutely fantastic, and just the amount of time that you can put into this game is something that people really have to kind of take into account when they're buying this game, because this game takes quite a long time to beat, especially if you're going to kind of 100% it and do all the little things that this game really has to offer. I felt like they really nailed it, and for a genre that doesn't get that much love, this one really puts it kind of back on the map on video games. So all day in the top 10. I think Red Dead Redemption is in a lot of people's top 10, definitely in mine. Number 5, this one might be a little bit of a controversial pick, but The Witcher 2. I know The Witcher 3 is the one that gets talked about the most, but honestly, The Witcher 2 is fantastic. And it was actually a Xbox 360 console exclusive at the time, and I remember when it came out back in 2012, I had it pre-ordered at GameStop, and it came with this amazing little keychain, and there was so much packed into it. I just thought it was amazing, and nobody was talking about this game at that time, right? It was just something that, I liked RPGs, and so I had it pre-ordered, and I got it, and I played through it, and it was just amazing. And in a lot of ways, I like this game better than The Witcher 3. I think it's a little bit more linear, obviously, and I like that kind of aspect about the game. It's not so over bloated. A lot of times, like games like The Witcher 3 or Grand Theft Auto 5, these games are a little bit over bloated in my opinion, and that could take some of the fun out of it. So that's what I really appreciate about The Witcher 2, is that it's an amazing game, but it doesn't stick around too long, and that's why it gets a spot in my top 5. Coming in at number 4, absolutely, is Elder Scrolls Skyrim. And this is a game that I don't think really needs much introduction. It's sold a ton of copies. It's been ported to literally everything. But I can remember at the time not being super excited about this game. I wasn't like super big on Elder Scrolls 4. I know, right? Like I've come to really enjoy it since then, but I wasn't a huge fan of it at the time. But everybody was talking about Skyrim, and I got really a sense of FOMO about it. So I went out, bought the game, and this was the game that I can remember while I'd be at work, and I'd be thinking about what I was going to do when I got off and was able to go back to Skyrim. Like, what kind of armor would I be building? What quests would I be taking? And it's rare for that to happen. This game is phenomenal. It is still a game that holds up incredibly well today. And, again, I'm sure this is in almost everybody's top 10. I know we're all different, but Skyrim is a game that I think pretty much everybody universally loves. Hotly at number 3 is Mass Effect. Now, you could substitute any of the games out here. What you're seeing is from the first Mass Effect. Realistically, you got to play the trilogy. This is probably one of the best trilogies in video game history. I know some people were left a little bit disappointed with the ending of Part 3, but for me, it was all about the journey. It was all about how we got there, who we were able to save, and what we were able to accomplish. I think Commander Shepard is a brilliant character, and this franchise, at least the first 3 games, were second to none. And first game was a little bit rough around the edges. I thought this was actually, like I said earlier in the video, an Xbox 360 exclusive for a long time, because the second one launched a year after it launched on Xbox 360 on PlayStation 3. I don't think it was until like the end of the PS3 life that they got a digital version of the first game, which again has a little bit more of the RPG elements, but I think Part 2 is the one that really honed the craft and got everything right. So definitely a top 5 game, most definitely a top 10 game. I don't care who you are, this is definitely one of those games that belongs on anybody's list. Flying in at runner-up is Halo Reach in the 2 spot. Now, I could have easily put Halo 3 in this spot. I think Halo 3 maybe had a little more impact in terms of what the Xbox 360 was about. But for me, this was Bungie's kind of, encore in terms of what they left with. This was the last game, the Halo game that Bungie worked on. I felt like it was the most emotional story that Halo had ever had. And, I remember when I first came out, the newer 360 Slims had come out, and myself, my brother, and 2 online friends stayed up all night playing this on the hardest difficulty, and we were just in awe the whole time. Just honestly, one of the best stories, some of the best gameplay that you could ever fathom, and the multiplayer was amazing as well. Yeah, armor lock was a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, this is too good of a game not to put on this list. And like I said, if your list would include Halo 3 or whatever, that's perfectly fine. You could interchange those. I thought Halo 3 was amazing. I thought Halo Reach was amazing. ODST was great. Halo 4 even, I thought had a really good story. But for this list, it's Halo Reach. And coming in at number 1, Gears of War 2. Yeah, listen, you could put Gears of War, or you could put Gears of War 3 in this list, or you could put all 3. I feel like, much like the Mass Effect spot, this one is set up for a trilogy. If you're going to play one, you might as well play all 3. It kind of has a beginning, middle, and end, but I thought Gears 2 was really where it upped the ante and made things that much better. And so that's why I specifically put that one here. But again, it's really splitting hairs, because you could put any of the 3 first games here and it would be perfectly fine. Now, granted, I'm a Gears head, right? I have a Gears of War Crimson Omen tattoo. I've been a fan since day one. Seeing Gears of War was what made me buy an Xbox 360 in the first place, right? Because I was unsure. I knew the PS3 was coming too. The Xbox 360 was coming first. I saw Cliffy B on G4 TV demoing Gears of War, and I knew at that point that I wanted to have a 360 so I could play this game. I'd never seen anything like it, and I never looked back. This game is by far my number 1, and I still love this franchise till today. And even though it's not as good, the newer ones aren't as good, I'm very hopeful for the E-Day prequel that was announced recently. So yeah, that's my top 10. Now, I know that my list is probably going to be a little bit controversial. There's so many games missing. There's literally thousands of games on the Xbox 360, and to kind of pare it down to just 10 is almost impossible task. A lot of it is just opinion based. I know people are going to be like, whoa, no GTA 4, no GTA 5. Listen, as I stated earlier, sometimes those big open world games can definitely be a little bit daunting to look at, and so while I think those are good games, personally, those aren't games that I kept going back to like the ones listed here today. So yeah, there's plenty that you could go and say, hey, they deserve, some flowers too. Dead Space series comes to mind. Obviously, That's one of the best franchises that came out of there. Assassin's Creed is another franchise that really hit its stride on there. Dragon Age, another franchise. There's just so many to really talk about, and it was really hard to narrow it down to just these 10, but I did it anyway. And if you guys want to see more top 10 lists, maybe give me some ideas in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe and like the video. It really helps me out tremendously. I hope you all have a great time gaming, and we'll catch you next time.